So Vince, what do you think and how would you handle riders these days that have been riding 20, 30 years, and what are the benefits of the course that we're taking today?
Well, as with any type of sport, and motorcycling is really a sport, if you consider all the things that are involved, physical ability, mental clarity, to keep yourself at the top of your game, riding a motorcycle requires that you practice a lot. The more you practice, the sharper your skills get. Everything we learn on a motorcycle from our very beginning class is a perishable skill. If you don't use it, it disappears. So just riding around on the motorcycle isn't enough to hone those skills to the best of their ability. You're riding around and you usually only use those emergency braking techniques or swerving techniques when something happens in front of you and it's too late to really sharpen up that skill that hasn't been practiced in a long time. So by going to a course at least once a year, for even the most of experienced riders, you're getting back under a pair of eyes or multiple pairs of eyes that can watch you while you're practicing. They can give you good input, precise input to make you a safer rider so you can go out the streets and actually employ the things the way they're supposed to be employed to keep you safe while you're riding all the time. So a class like this, the slow speed maneuvering class, very few riders, regardless of their experience, have ever gone to a slow speed maneuvering class like this. This is a police-based class. This has been used by police departments ever since they put motor officers on motorcycles, and that's been over 100 and something odd years for the LAPD. And the majority of training that comes out to the public on motorcycles stems from what they got from motor officers all those many years ago. When they first started finding out that riders were getting in a lot of crashes, say the 60s and 70s, a lot of people were returning from service, Vietnam, etc. They were riding motorcycles out there, and then they'd come back here, buy a bike, they were crashing. Someone said, hey, we need to find out why this is happening. Eventually a man by the name of Harry Hurt did the Hurt study, did all these different studies on why motorcyclists crash, and he determined the basis for most of the crashes is motorcyclists weren't properly trained. So they went to the pros in that field, which was the police departments, and everything that came after that, MSF, TCT, every motorcycle genre and every type of training available stemmed from the basic knowledge that was spread from the police departments and military at the time. So getting back to the slow riding technique, about the only time a rider sees the techniques like this employed is in their very basic beginner's class, their BRC. And they'll have maybe one exercise that is developed to help them ride a motorcycle at low speeds. When we get out and start getting into situations where we have to maneuver the bike tightly through a parking lot or doing U-turns, you'll see most riders are starting to put their feet down like outriggers, trying to help balance the bike. It's a very dangerous thing. Anytime your feet are touching the ground while the bike is moving is a bad thing. They have to get back to that basic of learning what they learned years ago when they first got into motorcycling. If they got some exposure to the low speed courses, they have to come back, take the course, and then bump it up several notches. The majority of people that I've seen get hurt on motorcycles, and that's like a day-to-day thing, is the slow speed maneuvers, parking lot crashes. You can see it. Go to your favorite dealership, sit there for a few hours and watch motorcyclists ride in and ride out. Watch how they apply the brakes before they pull out in the street, and you'll see that they almost lose balance because they're on the wrong brake when they're pulling out the street. Here comes a car, they're grabbing the front brake, they're going down a driveway, and the bike wants to tip over and fall over into the path in which their tire's pointing. So we teach you how to combat all that so you can handle any type of situation at a slow speed that comes up without getting yourself into a situation where you're putting yourself at risk.
Excellent.
There you go.
Thank you, Vince. And we're going to be the three key points that you want your students to come out with today.
That motorcycling isn't really a skill that is natural to all people. We have to develop the skill. So one key is you have to practice. You have to get proper training. You have to use that practice all the time. So whenever you're not in a class like this, you're riding at home, take some time while you're on your ride to pull off into a parking lot somewhere and practice your braking maneuvers, your slow speed turns. Practice some of the things that you know that you're going to need sooner or later. You may not count on them all the time, but you're going to have to use them sooner or later. Another thing is for riders to get their head and eyes off the street in front of them and out to what's in front of them down the road. A lot of riders don't use their eyes to their advantage. They're not looking far enough down the road so they can judge, ooh, I could be applying my brakes slowing down here. They wait till the last second, they're on the brakes, it's an emergency situation. You know, so getting the head and eyes up, looking where they want to go, that helps. And lastly, get out for professional training at least once a year. At least once a year. I don't care if it's slow ride, going back to an IRC, an intermediate rider course, or an advanced course through total control training, or whoever the course may be. We even offer out here three-wheel training. It's not a two-wheel motorcycle, it's a three-wheel vehicle that is very similar to a motorcycle, but a lot of the skills that we use on that are the same as you would use on a two-wheel vehicle. Right now, we're offering training on those for free. So, you know, whenever you can get any kind of training, no matter if it's free or it costs some money, you're investing in your future on a motorcycle, you're investing in your safety. That's the biggest investment you get. You can buy all the gear in the world. You can buy the best helmet, the best jacket, the best boots, the best gloves. But if you're inside of all that and you don't know what to do in a bad situation, all of that's not going to do you much good. Not going to do you much good at all.
There you have it, folks. Vince, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Slow ride.